Hi, I'm Mandy Flint. This is Elizabeth Vinberg-Hearn. We're leadership strategists, so we look into the future, look at what's happening, and then look back into what's happening today, and therefore what should we be preparing for in terms of leadership.
And we've just written our third book, published by Financial Times, and it's called The Leader's Guide to Impact. And it's divided into 3 parts, and we wanted to take you through those 3 parts now to give you an idea of how you can work with your impact and the kind of results you can have.
So leadership is the act of influencing others. Everyone is a leader. So if you have to influence others, then you're a leader. And with that in mind, we take a look at your own impact and think about how that impacts others and the ripple effect. So I'm going to draw the ripple effect. With the ripple effect, we look at yourself here right in the center and think about what impact are you having on you, and then what impact is that therefore having on the team around you. With that impact, how does that ripple into the wider organisation, and what impact is you and the team having on the organisation? That therefore filters into the outside world. So we then start looking at externally, how is the impact and what does that have? What effect does it have? We start to think about, therefore, you and your inside, the ripple effect to the outside, and therefore what culture you're creating. And as a leader, you're the creator of that culture.
So whatever impact you want to have, imagine that you have an impactometer. Imagine there's a gauge here where you could either have minus 100, so you have a really negative impact, or you can have plus 100, or you can be at 0. Whatever it is, whatever you want to achieve, think about not just what you're going to do in a certain moment to achieve the impact, but how are you going to be? And then start to think about what you need to do in order to shift the gauge higher up, if indeed you want to have better impact.
So we start looking at part 2 in the book. In part 2 in the book, we look at executive presence. So executive presence means you don't have to be an executive. It means there's a presence that you have from your impact. And we've been researching and studying that. And in studying it, we've come up with the executive presence sweet spot. Here we talk about the different ways that we can think about looking at executive presence. So the first way is thinking about demonstrating confidence. So here we look at how confident you look, how confident you appear, and how that comes across to others. We then start thinking about how much you are inspiring and relating to others. So we are inspiring and relating to others. So to be inspiring, you need to be inspired. So how is that coming from within? We also link it to a communication and coaching. So communication and coaching being the way that you are interacting with others. And if you're listening, if you're asking the right questions, not just giving the answers, but coaching others both in a positive way and also in a developmental way. We connect that with showing respect. So showing respect to others is a fundamental way of thinking about the behaviours that are needed in terms of executive presence. So we need to demonstrate we're showing respect, we're giving credit to others when credit's due, in making that connection. We therefore finally look at we need to be relating to the vision and the strategy. So we always need to be thinking what's ahead, what's coming up, and how are we describing that? How are we allowing people to make the links and connections and translating that from the vision into the day-to-day? All of that makes up the sweet spot, which is right in the middle, which means we need a bit of all of them, but we need to dial up and dial down when we need those different behaviours.
Now, you can also say that ultimately impact is about stakeholder management. Who are your stakeholders? Who are the people you want to have a really good, positive, strong impact on? And of course, you have your employees, if you're a leader, people that report to you. You have your peers, you have your boss, you have the board of directors maybe, and even the world around, your customers and the press and the media may be around. And all of those are factors you need to look at. So one of the things we really recommend that you do is you have a look at and say, okay, who are my stakeholders? Do a little simple stakeholder map and you say, okay, so what level of interest do these people have in the work that I do? How much power do they have over the work I do? And you go from low to high here. So, for example, imagine your boss probably has a lot of power and a lot of interest in what you do. So they would end up here and you need to manage them very closely. Whereas there may be other ones that are, they have low interest and low power. And for that reason, you don't want to spend too much time on them because they don't want it and you don't want it. So this is crucial when it comes to impact, to really consider your stakeholders. They're not all the same and they're going to be needing different things from you.
So we move into part 3 of the book, and part 3 of the book we talk very clearly about the impact outcomes. So therefore you might need to have an outcome impact. So in any example, for example, changing, there's a lot of change going on. If you want to create and develop change, then you have to think about where are we heading and where are we going. So we look at the vision. So here's the future state. Here's what we want to create. This is the change we want to bring in. So we work through where are we today? Here's our current reality. Where are we in the change today? But clearly, where do we want to head towards? And we look at that as just not about change management, but about change leadership. So leading that change. The clearer the vision, the clearer the strategy around what we really want to create, the stronger the pull towards that and the less the pull to today. So if we're trying to develop a change culture, a change dynamic, we need to make this very clear. Where's the vision? What are we going towards? And we might shift along the way. We might move in different ways off the path, but we're always adjusting back to that path. So in terms of outcome impacts, we're looking at the current reality and we're looking at the vision.
So whatever impact you want to have, you want to consider the triple bottom line. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of the time we talk about bottom line, we talk about making money. And actually, if you want to have an impact longer term, if you really want to think long term and have sustainable results, you need to consider a triple bottom line. So what do we mean by that? You want sustainable results, right? You don't want something that just lasts for a very short period of time. To do that, you really need to take into consideration all the resources you're dependent on to deliver your results. So in there, you've got your people, right? You've got the people you're dependent on, you've got your employees, you've got your suppliers, all the people you work with. You've also got the resources, the planet's resources that you need, the environmental factors, the kind of energy you use, etc., etc. And also, of course, you want to consider the money. You want to consider the profit. That's why it's called the triple P bottom line here, the people, planet and profit, all the resources you need in order to deliver results over time. They really need to be on your radar as you're thinking about the kind of impact you want to have. So whatever you do, be intentional about your impact because your impact is your legacy.